Let me ask you about higher education. One of the concerns you hear when you travel around the country is now the Chinese are producing engineers and scientists, setting aside the contentious issue of stem cell research, but just generally speaking, a lot of money, mind you, a very small number relative to their entire society, but are entering into these fields. And often I hear concerns that we're going to be outdone on the engineering and higher science side. What is the role of higher education here, and who should be involved in financing higher education?
Again,
and what are our risks?
Again, I think higher education, as with lower education, it should be financed by the individuals who are benefiting from it, not by the government. You now have so-called private schools and public schools, government schools and private schools. All of them derive from the land grants of the 1860s.
We Texans know that.
In my opinion, you need more competition in the higher education area as you do in the lower education. And here again, if government's going to finance schooling, it should finance the consumers, not the producers. Here you have the state of Texas has the University of Texas. California has the University of California. It spends a great deal of money on sending children to those schools. That's the most redistributive activity of the government in total. What happens is that you send children to Berkeley at the expense of the residents of Watts, or you send the kids from Beverly Hills to school at the expense of the residents of Watts. And but if you're going to spend the money, what California should do is it's going to spend X billion dollars on higher education. It should say we're going to give out scholarships equal to so much per person for whatever number of students however much far our money will go, and they can use those scholarships in any university they want to, including Berkeley. But Berkeley will have to live on the tuition that it earns from the people it attracts. And the same thing in Texas. Instead of financing the University of Texas, in my opinion, the right way to do it would be to provide scholarships on an exam, if you want, to as many students as you can afford, and require the state universities to charge tuition, to enter into free competition, and to live on their earnings.
And yet we see
But let me add one more thing for a moment. We benefit from China having more skilled people. It's just that we don't benefit as much as we would if we also had more of our own skilled people. But why are we hurt in any way? Suppose China breeds a great many more engineers. That enables them to produce goods and services cheaper. They'll sell them to us cheaper. Aren't we better off?
Very good question. Even if they subsidize their education, because it's a centralized government, produce those engineers, say, cheaper than we might here. Your point is that we can take advantage of that. We may not be victimized. Is that correct? An interesting perspective. So we shouldn't worry that others might be.
And basically, they're hurting themselves by doing that. If they're subsidizing something that is, it should not be subsidized.
I remember as a child being told over and over again that Soviet children were better at mathematics than I was. I remember what happened to the Soviet Union. And now I hear similar arguments being applied to China or to other countries. I assume that you expect the outcome in China, as long as they keep moving towards more freedom, to obviously be different than that of what happened to the Soviet Union.
Oh, entirely. I think China is now headed, if it continues in its present course, sometime in the next 10 or 15 years, you're going to have a drastic change in the political structure. You cannot maintain, in my opinion, today's political structure and today's economic. I think you're already more than 50% private in the economy.